I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you going to do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Ooh, how do you do that? Can you explain to me, sir? I might as well. First, I listen to the witness's testimony. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open the organizer and present the piece of contradictory evidence. To present something, I simply touch the present button. That's all it means. But it's not like there's gonna be a flaw in the testimony every time, right? Correct, and at those times I need to press the witness by touching the press button. Sometimes by pressing I can draw out new information, and new or modified testimony. I think I get it, sir. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations too. Very well. I'll show you, even show you how it's done. Now watch carefully. So basically just how it works in court of law, at least for Phoenix Wright ways of court of law. At least in terms of Phoenix Wright court of law, this works kind of the same way here. There we go. This works kind of the same way, where they'll give their argument, and then we have to cross-examine their argument, point out the flaws. Of course, we have double the health bar because we are Miles Edgeworth. We have so much confidence and logic. And we get really few times where it comes back. But we're allowed to make like 20 mistakes. Sometimes the mistakes are more critical and we take more damage, but for the most part, it's very lenient with the health bar. But let's give it a shot. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body and was sitting in front of the bookshelf. Thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. That'll be his final words to you, that you'll be brought to justice. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for the killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portman? There's no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I will find the flaw in this man's logic, and expose it with credible evidence. Time for our rebuttal. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Hold it! You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask. Yeah? What is it? Why do you call the victim Jim? It's clearly his name is Buddy Faith. Isn't that obvious? Jim's the perfect name for my companion. Jock and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jam? But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jock and Buddy sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third bunch of the guys I decided to nickname Jim. He talks about the victim like he was his pet. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you committed theft instead. Hold it! Do you really think it was necessary to dishevel my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay, maybe his real intent was theft. Hey, are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much life's getting a little too rough to handle? I'll have you know that I eat 3 square meals every day, pal. Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be instant. But! Poor thing, what an evil prosecutor you were paired up with. What a motive, no? That's when you moved Jim's body and was sitting in front of the bookshelf! Hold it! And why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing? Because the body was getting in his way. He had to mess up the bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway, but thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. Hold it! Why do you think that the killer didn't notice the bloody letters? The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? No, that's how he missed it. But judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take much for your detective to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know something about me. You know nothing about me, pal. There's a lot of persons who can understand about another from first impressions alone. I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Why don't you say something, sir? Oh, you do, Mr. Edgeworth. Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could have overlooked the bloody letters, and I can prove that. With evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup. For the game-finishing spike. And it will be his final words to you, though. Words that you'll be brought to justice. Hold it. Are you saying that those letters were intended for you? Yep. Jim was an outstanding detective. I'm gonna expect no less from my former partner. Looks like Mr. Portsman still doesn't understand. He has yet to figure out the true meaning behind the bloody letters. What are you sputtering over there? Can't just admit my logic's perfectly sound? Actually, that's a gigantic flaw in his logic. A gap so wide that even the good detective could spot it. Now to clue Mr. Portsman in by presenting him with some evidence. Now that we've thoroughly heard him out. The big problem is that there's a missing file. And in case you didn't know, otherwise, he did write Gumshoe upside down, but he didn't write Gumshoe. I'd like to point out he did not write Gumshoe. It would behoove you to take a good look at this. I see it, but I feel as though it has anything to do with me. Is that so? You're not on the top of your game today, are you, Mr. Genius Prosecutor? I gotta let him set the pace here. It's merely jet lag. I must remain calm. Only by doing so can I find the fatal flaw in his reasoning. Because after all, they had to notice that the bloody lettering. Perhaps you are not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic. Bringing a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem. I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. I get it. If you have time to laugh, then you have time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible! What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing. The files on the shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines. Objection! It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name with the file should be proof. Yeah, I mean the S is gone. There's only half an H. The Detective Gumshoe really saw the culprit of this case. I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Which means... What exactly? What does that mean? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low! Can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir! I'm gonna get him, sir! You'll see! I'm gonna have him under arrest in no time! Well, Mr. Portsman? Brilliant! Absolutely splendid! Logic deserving an Olympic gold! I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. You win some and you lose some. That's how life goes. Not everyone's so cheery. You know, I feel more dead than alive. Ah, but you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however. What is this time? What is this time? You still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who is the key to this office? Well, that would be me. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. And that's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do you sense that you still have something to say? Well, I was thinking, did you know there's one other person with a key to this office? One other person? Hey, you there! Yes, sir. What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? That girl's a member of this building's security. Think of her as the material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal. Don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden? Oh. I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security. Maggie Bird? Detective Gumshoe, sir. Maggie. Miss Bird is a security guard on watch tonight. I see. And your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which opens all the office doors in this building. What? If you're not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird. How dare you! I would never sneak into someone's room. That's right. I refuse to believe that Miss Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me. That's right. I did it. Can we take that as a confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was you, if it was, you'd have no problem with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason. And I'm willing to listen. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, Detective Gumshoe is the one who opened the door. Then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows the good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. So you're saying she used the master key? Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well. That was then, this is now. A flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there's anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. It seems the only way to get Mr. Portsmouth to give me more details is to press him. It's pretty obvious Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. Hold it! Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key? The only person in the staff at the time of night. So tonight, she's it. First, I want to take another look at that master key. I need to keep my eyes off of him. There's a master key to every office in the building. Doesn't seem to be anything special about it. Huh. Interesting. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir. Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, moving on. I hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. What do you mean unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. Should I hear Miss Bird out? I feel we should. Not so fast. I too am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear lies. I'll be the judge of that. Miss Bird, if you please. I discovered the master key is missing at around 1 AM, sir. What do you mean by missing? And then it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it. Mr. Portsmouth, I believe this is an important piece of testimony. Don't you? I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words. I'm not lying, sir. Objection! If that's the case, then I'd like to know. Why do I have the master key now? I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir. I like this story. And where's your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again. I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it usually becomes someone stole it. Yeah, pal. Trust me, you don't want to test just how bad luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agreed, Mr. Edgeworth. But you still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish there was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves, at least tried the safe. It is as Ms. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points toward the motive of theft. But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counteract with a few facts of my own. Turn 10? The messed up shelves and wiped down a safe. I'd say thievery. Hold it! I concur that the culprit's motive appears to have been thievery. However, glad to hear the great Miles Edgeworth is in agreement with little old me. However, with regarding the investigation of the bookshelves and safe... Hey, good thinking. Asking for my opinion on the matter? Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence? I mean, Detective Gumshoe is the one who opened the door. I thought we had established Detective Gumshoe's innocence pretty thoroughly. I was just a theory, one hypothesis among the many possibilities. I mean, if I had my doubts of Miss Bird at the very beginning. If that's the case, then why didn't you mention her first? Now, don't make that face. See? There goes the truth, running the other way. Let's pick up the pace and see if we can't catch up to it. I don't think you're catching my drift. But we are in agreement with the detective isn't the killer, right? If so, then I hope you'll understand what I say. That since she is the only one who could have opened your office door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. Don't you think it's a bit early to be jumping to conclusions? Are you saying there's another way to open the door other than the master key? Oh, I get it. Perhaps you had a spare made for someone else? I'll have you know, I have never made a spare, so what are you insinuating? Nothing! I guess I should have known better than to suggest someone like you would. On top of which, she knows a good detective, doesn't she? Is there anyone in this district who hasn't at least heard of Detective Gumshoe? Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors. Really? I never knew I was so talked about, sir. We're holding our collective breath, you know. For when you screw up so badly, you're literally chased off the force. Wait, what? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course not. That's hogwash. Don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there. Making it all more probable she was the one who faked the dying message. Hold it! By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe? I figure the one whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. And it's just the act of choosing his name is proof enough to know each other well. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence! I would love to. But first, we should listen a bit more and digest what he was saying. And press him for more information. Okay. So now we've thoroughly listened to him. My question is, why did he bring up the safe? No one should knew about this! It's a secret safe! Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something? Why not? It's the truth, after all. It was also by your logic we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe, the existence of which is only privy to prosecutors. No! I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was part of her cunning plan. But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything upside down. I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted. Yeah! You and I didn't know the safe, pal. That means there was no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then, what are you proposing? That the killer is a prosecutor? Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Curses, why? What made you... What's with the angry face all of a sudden? It's all my fault! What do you mean? It's Jim! He knew about the existence of the secret safes. What did you just say? You're partners, like inseparable conjoined twins! That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret safes. Then that means... Yeah, I know, I had only just told him to. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim. Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief? And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Miss Maggie Bird? Excuse me? I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going too far, even in your risky profession. What? You're still accusing Maggie of murder? Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who was probably drawing his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that. Not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he has been a thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office. Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? If it was Jim, he stole the master key. Duh! Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us, unless you retrieved it from Jim after he killed him. Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief? I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense. Has he no honor? And then I think we're done here. Investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? You can't kick us out! This is Mr. Edgeworth's office! Ah, but I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You're all suspects in varying degrees and therefore ineligible to run the show. Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the killer! Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself. But, sir, we have no choice but to accommodate his requests. For now. Haha! Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful. Mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again. If that's a formal request of the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now, don't disappoint me, you hear? He says, kicking us out of our own office. Well, just got through the first round. Time for a little more digging. What was with that prosecutor? Can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, detective. I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir. But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir. True. So what now? Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway. Eh? Really, sir? For example, this hallway. The linchpin of this argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door. Let's investigate the hallway. Let's start with this cushion! Not until I respect every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Hello? Is this the missing Zero series file, sir? No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. Seem to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. And even left there as evidence that the pages were missing. Sloppy. What are these Zero files about, sir? I guess they got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. And that means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. But only the pages related to the case from 10 years ago are missing. I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. Huh. Well-crafted, high-quality sofa for visitors. The stitching is excellent. Talk about luxury, way in the area. These babies are also great for napping, you know. You would sleep even out here, detective? In a hallway? Whenever I do, I always wind up dreaming about giving testimony up at the stand. It always ends the same way, me getting trounced by a lawyer. Isn't that awful? Maybe I should give it a try sometime. To envision myself winning, naturally. I do believe that's all we're gonna find. Bet the thief's not under here. Guess there's enough space for anyone to hide in the area anyway. I mean, if someone could contort themselves to fit, I'd be really impressed. Sounds to me like somebody has already tried at least once before. I suppose that's all we're gonna find with this. That was a good effort. Hello? What is this basketball doing here? That's Mr. Portman's prized possession, sir. Harry's bells play soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis. And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in the hallway. What's this basketball hoop doing here? Hey, didn't this used to be just outside of the next to the building a long time ago? So then why is it moved indoors? I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up recently. Drag it? I heard it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it himself. All the way up the 12th floor? That sounds like a poor use of police workmanship. Looks like you're quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth. To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. Must find, apprehend, and punish the killer according post haste. Sounds like a messy case we finally got in your hands. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open. How gracious. I'll keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again? Not ringing any bells. Anyway. Is everything alright? Yes, sir. You must know I weighed myself this morning. I'm 154 pounds. Congratulations. But I was asking about this hallway in this room. Oh, everything is okay, sir. A word of advice. Stay focused or you may start to lose even more weight. Just saying. His office. 1203. Maggie, whose room is this again? It's Mr. Portman, sir. So he's my new neighbor, I see. I suppose he moved in while I was away overseas? Well, Maggie? I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning the case. I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream! A dream while I'm cross-examined by Thema's Edgeworth! I can't let this chance pass by me. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her through my present button. About the victim. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him a couple times before when I had to go meet Mr. Portman's office. Mr. Faith is always playing basketball with Mr. Portman, sir. That sounds like fun. So just once, I'd have loved to play with him. Sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portman. All Mr. Faith ever did was passing the ball, sir. On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in at all with that. Yeah, no. Mrs. Maggie Bird, correct? I take it that you're an acquaintance of the detective? She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. On day one, she got caught up in a murder, and things started going downhill, so she quit. My old law detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer! Or so I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night. You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct? Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Since I was 6 months old when I fell on the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster. And now I've even managed to be named a criminal just when I've got a security guard. That's a lot to go through to one lifetime. Not to mention, she was also accused of 2 different crimes and had to go to court. I know! Just when I thought I finally found my happiness, I wound up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck. You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird. Nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. Good, then I would like to present to you my badge! That's prosecutor's badge, isn't it? It proves that you're really a prosecutor. Interesting. Despite all appearances, she seems to know more than Gumshoe. With that badge, even I can be a prosecutor, professional prosecutor. Sir, may I please try it on just a little bit? I don't think that would be a very good idea, do you? I guess not. On second thought, they're actually on the same level. Here, let us try. Yes, sir! Gumshoe, how do you feel about this? Prosecutor's badge is really tiny compared to my police badge. Oh, but it's really cool, sir. Much cooler than my badge could ever be. There's no need to suck up to me, detective. Just as I had thought. Alright, then about this master key. So when did you discover that the master key was missing? By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 AM, sir. And I noticed it was back at 2:30 AM. I was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure it was between those two times. It was not just gone, but stolen, sir. Why is this such an important key stored in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window. Always, you say? Except for this time, correct? Well, I admit I was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. And after I used it, I left it sitting out on the ledge. She used the master key? On what? What did you mean by you used the master key? Oh, I used it to open the door to this prosecutor who'd forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Ah! What is it? That's right, I just remembered! The prosecutor who forgot his key! It was Mr. Portsmouth, sir! What? Tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly! This is important. It was around 12 AM. Mr. Portsmouth had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir. And that's when you loaned the master key to him? No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone! I walked with Mr. Portsmouth in his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see. And then, what happened after that? Well, he called for me to come close up to his office, and he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30, I think. So in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. Talk about suspicious! I doubt you can say that you never left the keys at home, detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsmouth's door. I'll rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking cranny. Room 403. I think it is Mr. Portsmouth's office. Yeah, you can't mistake it because of that basketball hoop, sir. That reminds me, Mr. Portsmouth actually wanted room 202, the 1202 really badly. But since you're already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put it next door, sir. So why is Mr. Portsmouth so particular about getting room 1202? I'm not sure, but I bet it's because something like his birthday is December 12th? December 2nd? Yep, gotta be it. Gotta think of another reason why. I can think of at least 3. I'm really wasting time thinking of this. The door. The door's locked tight. But the old credit card trick wouldn't work here. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. This is the office of a high prosecutor, detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar can get through them. Ah, so I guess only a great cat burglar can get in. Must be your culprit is. Might I advise you to return that conclusion to wherever pawn shop you bought it from? That's a good response. Minimalist yet classy door made of top quality wood. Kind of majestic too. Fits in really well with the ambiance of the prosecutor's office. Even Mr. Portsmouth seems dignified, just because because he works behind one of these. Nonsense! Nonsense! A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, he still sees what dignified Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. Do you not remember who that is? Well, let's go check my door. 1202. Those 4 numbers on the number plate alone proclaim that this is my office. Whoops. Hey, the number plates slide right out, sir. They have to be able to take the plate off when the room becomes vacant, you know? Although, the idea that it could be so easily removed is kind of... I don't see any signs of forced entry. According to the guard, no signs of the lock was picked either, sir. Meaning that the door really was opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently the doorknob was clean as a whistle. Wiped, they think. Whoever this thief is, they have a good idea of the job of not leaving any clues behind. Which means... I didn't check this area earlier, but it never hurts to take a look. Nope, can't move that. I'm gonna check the doorknob. Door's locked tight. Interesting. Let's see. Use the master key. The master key was stolen. We connect these thoughts. Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story. What? No way, pal! I mean, sir? You said that you locked up Mr. Portman's office around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that point. Wow, nothing gets by you, Miss Edgeworth. You sound like contradiction. You saw a contradiction like a pro. Totally forgot all about that. Thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right. It was around that very time I realized master key was missing. And? Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir. You pretended? Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking it up, sir. So in actuality, you never did relock the door, then? Well, then I thought maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. I'm thinking I guess the door still hadn't been locked properly. Interesting. No, detective. To the door! Alright, now that doorknob is especially suspicious. The door's locked tight. Which exclusively contradicts this. That contradicts the fact that she didn't lock it. It's a contradiction in between reality and the evidence. So what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is the door locked tight? Huh? Yo, you're right! Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I'm certain of it, sir! But I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself, and I didn't. This means... what, sir? It either means he actually does have his key to his office, or that the door to Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door? How can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... examine these. The prints of the door number plate, they will tell us all we need to know. Everything? Really? Like what, sir? Like, examples such as... well, we know for sure that Detective Joe's dinner only consists of instant noodles. Wow! That was amazing, sir! How'd you know? That's supposed to be a joke or cheering you up, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, that is it! Now then, let's get back to what we were doing before. We need to examine the prints on the doorknob. The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything we need. You, pal! Do us a favor and see if you can lift in this, okay? What'd you find out? No need for such belligerent nostril flaring, detective. Sir, found only Mr. Portman's and Mr. Faith's prints on the doorknob. There's only 2 people whose prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. Huh? I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, a certain other person's prints should have been on this doorknob as well. We should have been seeing Miss Maggie Bird's.
Take that!
Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked those doors are absent? You mean, yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one. Why are we here? I would rest until I inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Particularly this piece of paper. What is this? Look like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. It looks like a note from the victim. Bought 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess we'll catch up later, buddy. From Mr. Borsman. Interesting. Is the basketball property of Mr. Portsman? Yes, sir. He's always ready for a match. Basketball, soccer, dodgeball, tennis. Doesn't matter what sport it is, he's game. Although I think it'd be a little hard to play tennis with this ball. Isn't the point you should be focusing on, detective? Right, sir. Now I know what should be focusing on. Bad Mr. Portsman. Someone should teach him to clean his toys up after he's done playing. I think we've reached the end of this conversation. What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game? That's okay, detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. You're right, sir. Guess it shifted when something made seriously sweet slam dunk. No, the positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. It doesn't match up with the carpet. Guess that's all we need. Poking around in the hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. Huh? How so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the real killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman? I knew it! That's exactly what my logic says they're telling me too. I suspect it was him for the accused Maggie being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door.